Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to come out and talk to you tonight about this ongoing issue. My name's Mike Fraley. I'm a retired Carter County Sheriff's Office deputy. I worked there for 31 years. I served under 5 administrations. And I did just about everything in that department that you could ask for. I retired as a training officer for the department, and I'm currently teaching as an instructor at the Walter State Regional Police Academy. And I just come off a 2-week hiatus trying to keep up with 42 cadets. I'm 55 years old, and these 22-year-olds have really worn me down. But I have served in every capacity at the Sheriff's Department. And that being said, there's a lot of ongoing problems at the Carter County Sheriff's Department. That's why I'm in this race. I'm enjoying retirement. I enjoy what I do at the police academy, but I left because I didn't care for the direction that the department seemed to be going in. And I'm gonna touch some nerves tonight, I don't care, but I'm gonna put facts out there for you. Sometimes the truth hurts, but I'm gonna lay it out there, okay? There is a problem, and to me, the main problem, and I have been preaching this since last January, my first priority is to change that mindset in the Sheriff's Department. And that's not my job, it's going to change day one. I give you my word. It is our job. We are sworn to protect and to serve. By serving, that's being out in the communities. That's talking to individuals about what's going on a daily basis. And that goes into part 2 of my plan, and that's to put more officers on the streets. When I started at the Sheriff's Department in 1989, there were 43 employees total. It's 2022, there are 140 employees. You say, where did those 100 officers come from? You have a bigger jail, you have school resource officers now, but I want to give you an alarming fact. In 1989, there were 4 road officers per shift. 2022, there are 4 road officers per shift. That's unacceptable in my opinion. There needs to be some streamlining, and I don't want to stand up here and toot my own horn, but when it takes 5 people to replace me when I retire, something's wrong. There really is. Because I had training and I had other job duties, but in that 40 hours a week, I still had time to do other things. And when it takes 5 people to replace me, I'm not that good, I promise you. I'll give you my word, I'm not that good. But anyway, I'm here to talk about what we're going to do if I win this election and I have the privilege of serving you as sheriff. The cruelty to animals. We need to have the officers confident to go out there and do their jobs and do them correctly. They need better training, and they also need the backing of the sheriff to provide that training and provide that where I'm working with the animal shelter and other organizations to make this work. Things like what we're doing tonight, that's what we need to be doing. We don't need to sit in our office and pretend it doesn't happen, because there's a lot of problems going on out in the county right now, and sitting in there saying, that's not our job, that does not sit well with me. It's personal, and it's why I'm in this. It's not about the money, and I'm not going to go into all that. It's about the lack of leadership. Now, here's another thing. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that's part of my 10-point plan. And I'm going to touch on that very briefly. I believe in honoring obligations. If I enter into a contract with the animal shelter to provide a service, I'm going to do it. If I have to do it myself, which I don't think I'll have to, we've got staffing down there for that. But that being said, I'm going to touch on a nerve right here, and again, I'm putting facts out there, and you can back me up on this and check me out. The Sheriff's Department entered into a contract with the animal shelter to provide animal control officers. Well, that went great for a couple of months. Corrections officers were getting paid overtime, and they were getting paid on their days off to provide a service. Well, after a few months, those officers that were assigned to be on call, whether they had other things to do, they didn't answer their phones. They wouldn't respond, and that put it back on the animal shelter. Guys, that starts at the top. If you're not dealing with these issues, I have to blame the one at the top. I took those phone calls from 911. They couldn't get a hold of an officer that was on call. And then when I took it on up the chain, well, they may have been doing something. If you sign into a contract and you agree to get paid a salary to provide a service, you're going to provide that service, period. That's all. I could go on, but I'm not going to. But I'm simply saying, if I enter into an agreement, then you have my word, I'm going to back it up. Because honesty and character and integrity mean a lot to me. And it means a lot to my family. My brother's sitting back here, he's a TBI agent, has been for 27, 28 years. My dad's a retired police officer. I believe in character. And I believe if I tell you something, it should be done. I also believe that we're not going to agree on everything. I understand that. But I'm willing to sit down at the table and talk to you about it and see if we can get a solution to a problem. And I'm not going to shirk it. And I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, but I will tell you the truth. And hopefully we can shake hands and agree to disagree on certain things. That's the only way I know to operate. It's who I am. Now I'll come back to this in a minute, but if you'll forward it one for me, please. The leash law. We do have a major problem. And this ties into training and more officers on the streets and having the deputies confident to do their job and have the backing of the administration. Now, I believe in using common sense. I believe if your dog gets loose and gets out, things happen. Our dog Charlie jumped the fence. He got brought home in a city police car one day. City officer called because he had the tag on his collar and had his name and phone number. Get a call from the city officer and they said, you have a dog named Charlie? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, we got him in the back of the police car. And I said, well, where do I need to go get him? They said, we'll bring him home. Anyway, I don't believe in charging everybody that has a dog that gets out. Now, if we have these officers out on the streets that are working in the communities and know the issues and know the neighbors, they know what's going on. They've got their thumb on what's happening in the neighborhood. Now, if my dog is out every single day and there's a problem, it needs to be addressed. That officer needs to knock on that door and say, your dog is loose. You need to get it put up. After a certain time, there needs to be that piece of paper, that summons or that citation to give them a court date to show up. That's how you start fixing the problem. You know, if you tell me everybody needs to be in jail, everybody needs to, I'm not buying into that. We've got to use good old-fashioned common sense in this. And something that Suzanne talked about, spay and neuter. I believe firmly in education is starting out young. And I'm going to give you an example, and I know I'm staying on topic with this, but starting out these kids to understand the process and changing their mindset through the SROs and things like that, they really may not know. But we put it out there to the SROs to develop programs to talk to elementary and junior high and high school kids and get the mindset changed to where we all work together. An example on this, when I first took over as a supervisor for the school resource officer, I was tasked to come up with a program to reduce waste. We did what the clean teams are called, and within a year's time, the landfill said that they had a 27 or 25% reduction in tonnage that went to the landfill. It's those simple things, and all it was a program that the SROs worked with various high school kids and got the education out there. Why can't we do that with the animals too? And if kids go home and ask their mom and dads, why do we have this problem? Start working together and we can make a difference. I promise you. I won't shirk the issues. I won't dodge the issues. I believe that you need to be accessible. And some of you are writing these things down. I'm not handing out campaign cards unless you want some outside. My cell phone number is on the back of it, and I'll give it to you if you want to write it down. It's 512-0305. The best way to find out is to text me, and I will get back with you at some point. But I'm not going to hide. I'm going to address issues, and I'm going to work to fix them. And anybody that tells you that they can wipe out any problem, they're going to stand up here and they're going to lie to you. Simple as that. I can't fix everything. I promise you I can't fix everything. But I can reach out and talk to people and see if we can come together for a solution to work together. But you got to be willing to work together before any of it can happen. I'll come back to that in a minute. Go for one for me. Okay, go one more for me. I think the sheriff's department and the sheriff himself has to work with other people, or this is not going to happen. The Carter County Sheriff's Department belongs to you guys too. The employees belong to the citizens of Carter County. I'll go back to the core of what I said. The Carter County Sheriff's Department is there to protect and to serve. And I want you to hold me accountable if I win this election, because it'll have my face on it, my name attached to it. If an officer's out here not doing his job, it's a reflection on me not doing my job, and I want you to hold me accountable. I don't want to see a shortage of officers. I honestly don't think that we will have if people have a clear direction of where we're going. We've had an issue for the last few months, and it's kind of ironic that in January of 2022, all of a sudden officers aren't getting paid enough. I could have told you that in 1989. I'm not going to shirk that. I never got rich at it, but I didn't sign on to get rich. I signed on because it's something I wanted to do. And when I left, I wasn't rich when I left. People aren't leaving just because of the money. I give you my word on this. Yes, officers need more money. I'm not denying that. But they're also desperate, and they want a leader that will lead from the front. And I want to be that one that has that opportunity. Yes, I spent 3 decades there. And yes, I really enjoy what I do now at the police academy. But I have unfinished business that I want to take care of. And something my dad taught me at a young age was to leave a place better than I found it. If I win this election, whoever replaces me, I want them to have a solid foundation just to make it even better than what I could. And I will make that challenge to them that I gave the best effort I could, and that was working with everybody, including the county commission, the mayor, the citizens, to make it better. Will I be perfect at it? No, I'll make mistakes along the way, and I'll own those mistakes. I'm a grown man. I'm 54 years old, and I've got the scars to prove it that I've got thick skin. They can always sew it back together if you rip into it. But give me a chance to show you what we can do if we work together. instead of sitting there and pretending these problems don't exist. I promise you, I'll give it my best shot. And again, hold me accountable. If I can't do it, then run me out of town on a rail. Because I give you my word. And I brought this up here when you saw this book. I guess y'all thought I was going to preach a revival, but I'm not. These are the 10 points I laid out January of 2021 of what I would do if I were to, after I decided I was going to run for sheriff. I have never wavered on any of them, and I refuse to do so. But these 10 things have got to be fixed to make the Carter County Sheriff's Department a better place. Go on up one more for me. Other way. Back to. Sorry, my pointer here. Back one more. I touched briefly on the honoring obligations. That concerns me a lot that we dropped the ball on that. And the taxpayers got hurt on this because the Sheriff's Department entered into an agreement to provide an animal control officer, and they didn't do it, period. There were issues, and you can talk to Ms. Posada at some point, but when they realized that they were going to get in a jam, they turned the equipment back in that was beat half to death and cost all kinds of repairs to get a brand new truck that was given for the purpose of using it for animal control. And that's unacceptable. The animal shelter got stuck with repairing that vehicle after it was abused and beat to death by the guys that I work with at the Sheriff's Department. That upset me that there was no accountability to those that did that. That's wrong, folks. That's wrong. And they can take me to task. I don't work there anymore. I don't report to any of them. But I voiced my opinion on it, and that's why I'm on the outside looking in now. And that's why I'm standing in front of you asking you to help me make these changes. Help me move us to get forward in the right direction. Work with me on this so we can sit down at the table and we can have these meetings. As long as you guys want me to come, I'll show up. But we need to be at these meetings, having these. And you guys need to be telling me issues that you've got. And let me see if I can work with you on that, okay? Simple as that. I'm kind of stealing it from another candidate that's in here, but he's on, let's work together. It's simple as that. We all have a vested interest in Carter County and the community. Imagine what we can do if everybody, for the first time in a long time, comes together and sits down and works some of these issues out. I can't fix them all, but I can give it my best, and I'm going to. And again, you hold Mike Fraley accountable for what he says he's going to do, and he'll do it or die trying. Now, I don't want to take it away from anybody's time. I'm not going to take up an offering. I'd like to. Go ahead to the last one there. You guys know the TCA on the animal cruelty and the leash law. It's there in black and white under that green book. It's Tennessee Code Annotated. That's the book that we operate off of. You all had asked me, someone had asked me about, if the commission were to enforce other ordinances and laws. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it. But let's work on what's in the TCA right now on the animal abuse, and let's offer training to the deputies who are confident right now because they don't want to answer the calls, and 911 won't even dispatch them out right now. And I was asked, well, you don't work for 911? Well, The sheriff sits on the board of directors for 911. If there's an issue there, I will address it as a board member, sitting in the sheriff's spot, that hey, they need to have training on this. But again, we all have to work together to make it happen. If there's training out there, I promise I will ask Shannon to come talk to the officers. And I will reach out to other outside agencies on this to network together to find solutions to problems, but training will be a priority under my administration if I win this election. I will be out there holding these officers accountable for this, because I believe an officer needs to be out there doing their job. But I also believe that sheriff needs to be out there in the communities, and I won't be able to do it every day. I'll own that. But I think I need to be stopping in communities and saying, hey, how's everything going? And if somebody wants to give me an earful, I'll listen to them. But I won't shirk away from them. I never have and I never will. It's just not in me. But I'll say it again. We may not agree on everything, but I will sit down and listen to you, and I'll tell you why I can do something and why I can't do something. And I hope that at the end of the discussion we can shake hands and agree to disagree. But if it's a valid point that something needs to be looked into, then I'll go back to the drawing board and I'll figure out a way to make it happen. I like to think that I'm a problem solver, but I also know that I don't have the answer for everything. There's only one man, he's up there that knows everything, and I'm not that man. But I do know what the issues are to fix the Carter County Sheriff's Office, and I want you to give me that opportunity to show you what I can do. But without your all's help, I can't do this. It's going to be tough enough as many people that are in the race, but I really believe that I'm the right candidate to fix these problems. And I'll say this, and I don't think I'm getting off base on this. Research your candidates. See what they have done to put themselves in this position to run. I have nothing to hide. I could go on for hours about things that I have done over my life. I'm not going to get into that because I have a short amount of time. But I think I have spent a lifetime preparing to be standing here in front of you tonight and hopefully be taking over the reins September 1st. But research the candidates. I'm not going to bash any of them. That's not in me. I know where I stand. I know my background, and I can lay my head down at night and go to sleep knowing that I don't have to retort to bashing and mudslinging. But that being said, I'm willing to take any questions that you have. And fire away.
Yes. Just come back to one of the questions.
I can hear you. You're fine.
One of the questions we had on a piece of paper that was on the agenda was about shooting and killing of dogs in Carter County that was going on, but particularly that's in general.
Okay.
So just what are your views about that? And specifically, what are your views about deputies that either shoot or tell people to shoot dogs?
I don't agree with just telling somebody to blatantly go shoot an animal. I'll tell you this, I own 2 dogs myself. I've got a Dachshund and I've got a Lab. You shoot my dog, I'm probably going to end up in jail, probably end up in prison. Simple as that. I think the deputies need to know how to properly investigate things, and I think that they need to know that they can count on, and I'll give you an example. We have several dogs that get hit by cars, and it may not be a life-threatening injury. I need to know, because I've been gone for 2 years, but what your guidance is for our officers, if there's an injured animal, that it's not life-threatening, but you all help me on this. But we've got to sit down together and have a guideline on that, but I do not condone officers just going out and shooting dogs. And I don't condone officers going out and just blatantly telling them, well, if they come on your property, shoot them. I don't agree with that. I think there has to be a checklist of things, and if they can justify it, and they're going to have to be able to articulate it well with me before they just go do this. There has to be an immediate threat to them or their families or the community before I will say okay on that. Now, you can ask the other candidates what their thoughts are on it, but I'll say this. No, I don't condone just saying it. And I think we all need to work together. And I think that with some guidelines and sitting down, we can accomplish that. But I hope that answers your question. No, I do not condone that. Yes.
Did I understand you to say that there is budgeted for 4 animal control officers now?
There's what now? I'm sorry.
There's money in the budget for 4 animal control officers right
I
now?
don't know what the situation is now. I'm saying 2 years ago back, the Sheriff's Department agreed to provide animal control officers for the county. Corrections officers were paid a stipend of, I want to say it's $500 a month for their time off. Now the first couple of months, it was all warm and fuzzy. They were getting paid on that. And then there started to be a drop off of officers not answering their phones and deciding that a family outing or whatever. My problem is not with them spending time with their family. Or my problem is if you sign that you're going to work and you're going to provide this service, then you better have a very, very good explanation for me when they get the call that you need to respond and you don't answer that call.
So we don't know if there's a line item in the budget right now.
I don't know at the moment. I'd be lying if I said that. I don't know. I'm telling you how it was 2 years ago when I was there.
Fraley, could you explain how that you're going to help animal control officers enforce the running at large, animal running at large?
Is this better now with the microphone with the ring? As far as the animals running at large, like I said, it all goes back to more training and building up the confidence in those officers that they're not afraid to answer these calls and be out in the communities. And like I said, and I stand behind this, if I see a black lab running down the street, I'm not going to run that dog down and ask them who their owner is. I'm going to stop in the neighborhood, who's that dog belong to? Just about everybody in the community can tell you who that dog belongs to, and I'm going to stop, knock on that door. That dog may have jumped the fence. Like I said, Charlie, my black lab who passed away last year, he jumped the back fence, got caught up somewhere near West Side School. Got put in the back of the police car and they delivered him back. He never did jump out of the fence again. But, you know, could the city officer have written me a citation? Sure he could have. Now, if there is a reoccurring problem, then it's going to be addressed. And if I stop in a neighborhood and somebody tells me, well, I've told that deputy 3 times, I'm going to dig back, peel back the layers and find out, okay, did someone talk to you about this? Why didn't you act on it? There needs to be accountability, and it starts at the top, but it needs to work all the way down. It's like the example I gave of not responding to the calls. When deputies get in that mindset, well, they're not going to do anything to me, then yeah, I'll take an extra $500 a month just not to answer the phone. I'm not like that. If I enter into an agreement with you, it's a contract, and I'm only as good as my word. But better training and officers knowing the laws and given the abilities to enforce them without any kind of repercussions, that's big. I want the deputies to trust me for them to be able to do their jobs, but be held accountable for doing those jobs. But if someone from another county has a good plan, then I'll invite them over to come speak to the officers. And like I said before, Shannon, I will encourage you to come over and put on a block of training for the officers so everybody's on the same page. But if we don't do that, we're hurting ourselves. We've got to work together. It's not going to happen unless we do work together. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Anyone else?
You kind of touched on it a little bit there, I think, but I was just wondering about how do you actually hold us as citizens that have pets? How do you hold us accountable for, just letting them run loose or having them tied up all the time or something like that? How do you actually hold them accountable for that?
Letting them run at large in the communities, is that what you're getting at?
That or chained up or just...
I don't like a dog chained up. I've got a fenced-in backyard, and I've got a Dachshund and I've got a Lab, the odd couple. I've got a 7-year-old male Dachshund and an 8-year-old female Lab. They have a fenced-in backyard, and there's also a kennel back there for them if I'm going to be doing something and not in the backyard, things like that. But again, it's a common sense approach. Now, I assume you have dogs. Okay, I don't know your situation, but if there's a problem with your dog running at large, I would hope that the deputy would have the confidence, if he gets a complaint from a neighbor or things like that, to come over and talk to you. Your dog's digging up a garden or something like that. Common sense. Fix the problem, or we'll move on to another way. And I don't want to have to do that. I really don't. I think it's common sense. Owning a pet is a responsibility. When you take it on, I don't believe in, and I despise this worse than anything, when somebody gets a pet and then sticks a big chain around their neck, and then you see where they dug holes out, things like that, and that irks me. It's a responsibility.